Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening, Rich, Andy.
Oh, somebody new, mate. I feel like a Martin in that corner.
I thought it was Martin with more hair.
Andy decided to mute himself. Well done, Andy. I mean, you're making as much sense as Martin does anyway, so.
That's what I mean. I just thought I'd fit in. How is everyone?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate.
Long time no speak, guys.
I know, where you been?
I've been busy, mate. Making some mugs. You know,
some mugs.
After last Saturday, the Chris Wood range or Sunday, the Chris Wood range is just rolling off.
Kid them, eh?
God, they are fabulous.
Quality, mate. Quality.
Quality.
Yeah. So I've been busy doing that, mate. Getting me Benidorm fund.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon of all this? What's come out? Is Martin joining us tonight now?
He's running a little late. He sends his apologies, but he will be joining us.
Hang on. In the same sentence, Martin and running. Nah, I'm not having that. Not having that one. What do you reckon of this? What's been coming out now? Like Goldbridge has gone on a bit on that, and they all seem to be backtracking a little bit.
Did you actually see the video he released where he said, Man City fans, I'm not going to be mentioning the 115 anymore. Yep. And he cringed. I mean, he literally cringed and said, I haven't been silenced by Man City. And it was just like, yeah, you have.
And that
shut up.
And that fat bald swine as well, not me. That Anfield agenda. He needs to go in hiding. I just do you know what I find brilliant about this, guys? I just feel that City are going to be fight at the moment. They're quiet. It seems like they're burrowing behind the scenes. It's about time that City went for these people, because as much as they hate United and as much as they hate Ferguson, they did it right. They banned people from the stadium and stuff like that. And it's about time that we did. Uncle Fest, I hope you're not talking about me there.
Nice.
Do you think it's about time we started fighting back?
Well, we said it weeks ago, haven't we, that, City, we felt that City needed to come out and show their teeth. They've been too silent for too long, letting certain, ventures of the media and other YouTubers run their mouth and basically present us as guilty as charged. And now City seem to have kind of, said, no, we've had enough. We're going to show our teeth, and we're going to put, this whole to bed. I mean, it sounded like City are super confident that the charges are basically going to go away, or it's going to be a less of a penalty towards City. Obviously, we don't know. It's still very much up in the air. But you could only imagine that City wouldn't be saying this and wouldn't be, telling certain branches of the media and
I don't know what it seems like to
quiet.
Me, Rich. It almost seemed like the Premier League, all giddy, have gone, let's throw all these and say, oh, look at these. They've not checked the sources, the credibility and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they've gone, something. We went in a little bit quick here because XYZ's not actually correct. City, any chance we can have a meeting and try and sort this out? It seems like that has been the way what it's been dealt with.
There's an element of that. I think we're probably slightly the opposite to what you're saying is Premier League. I think the Premier League didn't have anything, and so they thought we will throw every bit of paint at the wall. And if we throw absolutely loads, some of it will stick. It will make it more likely someone will come forward. And above all, if they're being pushed into this by certain clubs, as I suspect the Premier League was pushed into this, because it would have happened a very different timing and everything if they hadn't been. They're pushed into it. And how can they do the most damage? Well, the way they can do the most damage, if they haven't got any evidence, is just to make the crime look as big or as bad as possible, even if they have it. So I think there was an element of that, you know, probably not necessarily from the Premier League, but certainly from the people pushing the Premier League to do it, as I suspect some of their shareholders were. They're like, make it look as big as possible. That will damage City. And if the more we throw at it, the more we're likely to find some things, and the more we're likely to get City to accept something in a deal. So I think they just, you know, you put in a massive over the top, you know, threat almost, and you hope that that means that you get a better outcome. I mean, it's like going back when you think you've done badly.
You seen that comment there, pal? I'll try and drag it. It's they called, looks like a Sunderland fan, I am the most beautiful man in this world. It says, you will always be cheating bastards. Available at savageonlinestore.co.uk if you want to go and get one. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So that, but you know, the most significant thing, and people haven't talked about this a lot in the last week, the most significant thing in football politics, the Premier League in the last week, is that our lovely neighbours across in Salford broke the red cartel, voted against Liverpool and Arsenal. And since the beginning of the Premier League, the one thing that has been absolutely constant is Liverpool, United, Arsenal, and their little puppy dog Spurs have been absolutely locked together on absolutely everything. And the fact now that not only is United mainly made up of City employees by the sound of their senior exec team that's been pulled together, but they voted with City and Villa against Liverpool, Arsenal, and that's never happened. And if Liverpool and Arsenal United are not lock and stock, their control of the Premier League is gone. It's going to bring a bit more chaos, but it's certainly it has broken the model that has been there for 30 plus years of the Premier League, which is Liverpool, United, Arsenal, and Spurs in brackets, locked together, driving particularly with their conversations, Liverpool and United with the Premier League CEO, and Arsenal with their letter writing on behalf of those clubs. That's dominated the Premier League. That's gone. And that's going to mean, you know, the Wild West a bit more in the Premier League now, which is good for City because we've always been Billy the Kid on the outside.
Even Ozzy, it's like even United, as much as a laughing stock they've become over the years, even they wouldn't be stupid enough to take Omar Barada if he's going to be well, effectively, he could go to prison, couldn't he? You know, with all the if what we're being accused of and stuff like that. So for me, I don't know about you two from that, and I always cite back to it when Caldoun did the end of that interview. For me, I just was like, I believe this man because he's got the facts.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of put the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, I should say, and presumed us as guilty. And I'm sure there are, even if it comes out that City are innocent of all the charges. I think probably the only one we are actually guilty of is not complying, and we don't have to comply. It's for the Premier League.
The European casting. That's all we got. When I say all, I know it was a hefty fine, but at the end of the day, we was innocent. And like I've always said, it doesn't matter. We will always be classed as cheats. The fans.
And that was the point I was about to make.
No matter what happens. But do you know something? Even if all the charges are dropped, we'll still be classed as cheats. However, Everton, Forest, and Leicester, they've all been charged because they've been guilty. So,
yeah, and there's still other clubs that are like, Chelsea are still looking at charges. I think there's going to be possibly other clubs that could face. I mean, there's been rumours of Newcastle. There's been rumours of even United and Liverpool to an extent.
I think it's going to fall
know.
back into. I think it's going to fall back into normality. I think that whilst people don't necessarily call them cheats, I think you listen to Forest fans; they're quite open. We needed to. We wouldn't have stayed up in the Premier League and kept the money if we didn't do it. It was a gamble worth taking, and as long as they stay up this season, happy with the punishment, because the punishment won't change. If they come 17th, the punishment could be 50 points or 1 point. It doesn't matter. If they come 17th, they won't care. It's utterly irrelevant. And they're clear. If we hadn't done it, we wouldn't have stayed up last season. We wouldn't have a chance of staying up this season, and it's all over. So it is. I've always said it's a nonsense anyway. It's never been cheating if the rules are created specifically to be unfair. It's like, saying that, protesting against, an unfair law is wrong. If the law is unfair, well, is it morally wrong? Is it morally cheating? I don't know. The interesting thing is that they've gone for it, because defamation was always going to be incredibly, hard to prove the actual damage. So, I think it'd be quite easy to prove, people have defamed in their words, but as to what the damage is, that's always been a hard one. And the other thing is, it just shows how people have got cocky and sloppy, because early on, you can mention the 115 charges, you can call City alleged cheats, you can say that this could all call everything into question. You have to get pretty sloppy to actually be out there forgetting to say their allegations, actually saying things, that actually go beyond just being an annoying, attack on City to actually becoming defamatory. So it is interesting, but I do think people like Goldbridge need to be very careful on other things, because, the things he says about the Premier League, Pugmol and everything else, he now states a lot of cheating things and corruption things as facts. And I'm surprised like Michael Oliver, for example, hasn't gone at a couple of the really big United and Liverpool channels, because he gets accused of being paid by the United Arab Emirates to fix results. And they don't say allegedly, they just say he is cheating, he is being paid by these. And so I'm surprised in some of those cases they're not, because that's a personal reputation, and we don't know.
It could be happening behind the scenes, but for me, as like everyone, I absolutely detest Talk Sport. So all these Muppets are on Talk Sport. So if City are going for Simon Jordan and going for Goldbridge, you'd think you would actually think that City Talk Sport will be going, hang on a minute, we need to start moving away from it, because Danny Murphy's been out. And what surprises me a lot is Sarah Collins is the chief producer at Talk Sport, and she's a massive City fan. She used to be the producer on BBC Radio Manchester. Now she must feel uncomfortable there, because she's all right, Sarah, and it's beyond belief. So on the pitch, are we confident we're going to? Confident we're going to do it? Or what?
Just before we get onto that, Andy, I just want to quickly shout out, because Sir Alan has done a couple of super chats. I can't show them because Martin is in charge of that. But he's just basically said the Super League is coming, and he's sent that twice. So thank you, Alan. That's going towards my beer fund.
Cheers, Dad.
There are a couple of gifted memberships as well. I think I'll get Martin to put those on the screen, because they deserve to be put on screen. But thank you so much for those. Andy, back onto football.
Yeah, I tell you, Liverpool have totally fell off the rails, haven't they? And although Arsenal play before us on Saturday, don't they? So they could effectively be 4 points clear again. But the way we're handling this pressure, listen, I thought Brighton was going to be one of them banana skins, but we just absolutely rolled them over. Forest could, listen, no two ways about it. Forest could have, if they'd have had a decent Chris Wood, he should be investigated for
No, you should be selling those mugs because he's our player of the year. What Pat have been telling you, he's a blue. He loves City. He proved it again on the weekend. And those Chris Wood player of the season mugs should be rolling off. I'd have a set of 6 when I have like guests round. You can even do little cups and saucers and teapots.
Yeah, it's like Crow Abyss says there. Also, Spurs looking terrible and becoming more and more confident. We will beat them. And yeah, they got beat 2-0 again off Chelsea.
Yeah. Do you know the
thing is with Spurs though? The thing is, sorry, Rich. The thing with Spurs is that it's away, and they just seem to turn up against us. So as much as that,
they get a good atmosphere and stuff. I've not heard one Spurs fan who wants Spurs to beat Arsenal. Wants Spurs to beat City.
Oh no.
They've had official supporters club branches right into the club saying we want you to throw the game. I mean, so whilst I know no one is ever going to do that, I don't think you're ever going to go to Spurs in a circumstance where a higher percentage of the ground and is going to want City to win. And honestly, I don't think they're going to be in, unless there's a massive rush of wins from 6th place, I don't think they're going to have anything to play for. They've got Liverpool again in 2 days' time, which admittedly Liverpool are, not good at the moment, but I just think Villa are going to be secure. Villa are going to be resting players for Europa.
Yeah.
And by the time City play Tottenham.
Thing is, for me, I've got a lot of time for Big Ange as well. I think he's a decent manager. I think at the moment he's fighting with his hands behind his back. He won't care whether Arsenal win the league or not. He wants to finish the season on an high. What I will say is,
and he wants the City job one day.
Well,
he went to the City group in Japan because he wanted to learn about the way playing. He did a lot of dealings with City when at Celtic. I think, I don't think he's.
Can somebody in the chat?
Someone who's fired up and hates City.
Can somebody in the chat remove that? I have the biggest dick in the world. It should be you are the biggest dick in the world. Can someone just ban him, please?
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some.
Nobody cares about City, though. Nobody cares about City, but they want to do stuff like that. Yeah, he'll want to finish on a night. But what I will say, Rich, is we've broke the hoodoo. We've gone there in the cup and we've beat them.
Yeah.
So for me, that's huge.
Yeah. Since that FA Cup game, I've not worried about Spurs away because I felt like a goal there was like a bloody bus. We had 119 attempts before we scored at the New White Hart Lane. Like it was the longest period of one Premier League team at another Premier League team in a ground of having attempts without scoring, and it was way over 100 by the time we actually scored. We'd had attempts, and I think we've been about 60 attempts on target before we scored. So I kind of think it's like buses. We're probably going to score with our first 3 touches when we go down there. The other thing is they're going to play with a criminally high line and everything else against us. So if we've got, Doku, Foden, Haaland, etc. fit, they're going to have an absolute field day. And whilst the same might apply with us being a bit high and that being a risk against Spurs, they're not going to have the motivation to be running with half the effort that we are, because it's just it's a summer holiday game. So we could bottle it and have an absolute shocker, but I don't think Spurs are going to have a brilliant performance. I think they're just going to play.
Do you think Arsenal are going to drop points out there?
I think United are going to beat them.
Come on. Listen, I'm not being funny. Us 3 and a mixed 11, whoever's in the chat there, we could beat United. We could go Old Trafford and give them a game.
Arsenal, over the years, I don't know. There's Arsenal United games never seem to be. I know there's been wasn't there an 8-1 or something at one point, but they do seem to take points off each other when you wouldn't expect it. And I do think there's going to be a lot of. I mean, I know Ratcliffe's desperately trying to convince every United player their futures on the line. They could be sold. The manager could be gone. you know, there's got to be some fire and emotion there. And unlike the Spurs fans, most United fans are a lot more sanguine about who wins the league, because City winning the league, you know, they're used to us lording over them. It's not going to be wildly different.
If you think about it, we've got a similar scenario with Spurs, haven't we? In our unprofessional heads, because we're just fans and we have our little conspiracies and stuff like with it. Or you know, they don't want Spurs, you know, to beat us because it'll land Arsenal. Well, United won't want to beat Arsenal because they don't want us to win the league. So it's just like,
yeah, except for the fact there's a lot more. I think there's, you know, a lot more downside to United of Arsenal winning than there is. There's no real downside to Spurs fans if City beat them. United will have to put up with, and the whole world will have to put up with the Arsenal hype machine and the crowing if they win. And the truth is that for a lot of those clubs, City are already lording it over them. But as a fan base, we don't tend to, you know, crow and go on about it and go everywhere and sell 20 t-shirts. We're kind of a bit more the dirty, cheating bastards, mug kind of humour bunch. So, you know, we're not gonna annoy the crap out of them if we win in the same way that Arsenal fans will.
What does that mean? A
lot of United fans live in London.
You're getting a lot of praise there, Rich. What does sagwine mean?
I just made it up.
Tell me what it is before I Google it. No, because everyone's going for
no. That'll be the test for the rest of the show. How you can Google it and then get it in conversationally later.
I can't even say it, so I'm not going to be able to get it in a conversation.
I'll put another couple in later for you, Andy.
Brilliant.
I'll fit them in.
Yeah, but BB says segue means a change of topic.
Well, we were trying to, weren't we? You were trying to get back onto the league, and you successfully did it, and now you've changed it again. It's getting Billy Connolly-esque.
Very much so.
Oh, I was thinking of Brian Connolly then.
Yeah, no, I must admit, you know, I said it a month or two ago. I thought there's lots of twists and turns and defeats coming. There is every season, and you know, we got to a point in February where everyone was like, Liverpool, Arsenal, City are going to win every game the rest of the season. The title's going to be decided when City play Arsenal, City play Liverpool. It never happens. Like, City have got the closest of anyone ever to being a machine at the end of the season and winning game after game. And we have done it. And we had that one season where Liverpool did the same. But most seasons have been like last season or 2014 or, you know, a couple of years ago, where teams have faltered towards the end. Teams have had draws against poor teams, have lost. You know, it's a different kind of pressure. Arsenal, to be fair, are looking much better than last season. I think they've learned a bit.
Do you want to know what I was going to ask you both then? I'm guilty. I thought it'd have been Liverpool with us toe to toe. I thought Arsenal would have fell away again. Are you surprised that they've not only stayed with us, but they're still looking good, aren't they? So I think
they've played the best football in the Premier League this season, probably. You know, even with City, I think Arsenal have looked very good, with the exception of a few odd games. You know, they've lost 5. Arsenal looked very good all season. I thought Liverpool looked like they were getting results, but Liverpool have not looked good all season. Liverpool against City looked good for half the game at Anfield.
But remember,
I thought they looked poor at the Etihad.
The best team wins the league after 38 games, not 37, not 36, 35. The best team always wins the league, unless Arsenal do.
For me, there's one legacy of Klopp that doesn't get talked about in the media, and that is that Klopp has one way of playing. It burns out his players and his squad. When they're 2-0 up, he keeps playing that way, so they run their backsides off till the 96th minute. He doesn't he's never rotated enough. This season, to be fair, injuries means he probably hasn't had the chance, but he doesn't rotate. He doesn't know how to manage a victory in game, so he burns them out. So a player like Andy Robertson looks like he's almost finished. Like there's Liverpool fans saying he's got to go, his legs are gone. Now he's not like 36.
They're saying about Salah as well, aren't they, mate?
Yeah, because they get run into the ground. And the one thing I'll say about City, I do criticise Pep for running Rodri into the ground, but generally, if we're 2 or 3-0 up and we've gone up into fourth gear, we pull back into second gear. It annoys the fans who sometimes say we should be trying to win 7-0, goal difference. But we go back into second gear and the players rest their legs. And that's why at the end of the season,
what do we always
do? We've still got legs.
Exactly. We conserve our energy, don't we, Ozzy? Where, like you say, they all go for it. Blah, 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 blah. Arsenal fell short because they say they didn't have a Saliba last season. I don't go for that at all. Listen, look at the players we've not had this season so far. It's because we've got a strategy more or less from game 1 to game 38 in the Premier League, and we don't seem to defer away from that, do we?
No, I think the thing with Arsenal is that the thing that's kind of worked for them this season is the signing of Declan Rice. No one could say that it's been a bad signing. He's worked out really well for them. The other signing that's finally worked out in the Premier League is German. Someone up here. Havertz. That's it.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz has finally kind of shown that he can put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, what I would say is I think if they'd had, a decent goal scorer, a proper number 9, or just someone who could have put more goals away, I think they would be in better stead. I personally think if they don't win this year, they're going to go out and buy a striker in the summer. Whether that's Ivan Toney or somebody else, they're going to go out and buy that striker they need, because as good as Havertz has been towards the end of the season, I think most Arsenal fans would be honest and go, he was inconsistent, especially at the beginning and the middle of the season. They can't completely rely on him.
Tell you who I think would be perfect for him, and I'd love to see him at City, but there's no way we'd get him because he's not a big enough name. Jared Bowen, I think he's a quality footballer. He scores some brilliant goals, whether it's left foot, right foot, head. His link-up plays brilliant. I think he's in Harry Redknapp's thing, he's a terrific footballer.
Yeah, he's a good footballer, but he's a wide kind of player, isn't he? And I just think they've got some decent wide players, and I think if they get a decent striker. I mean, we knew that when Jesus went to Arsenal, he wasn't going to be that number 9 that was going to tear up the Premier League for them. We'd known that for a long time in his City career. As much as we all loved him, he just wasn't clinical enough, and we knew he wasn't going to take over Aguero when Aguero went, and that was proven over 2 seasons of playing a false 9. So,
I just listen. But there's a couple of things. One, if they bring in a real striker, like the people talk about bringing in a Tony or something, that might take some adaptation. I know Haaland came in and fitted and won us a treble his first season, so that doesn't necessarily apply, but it could apply. 2, though they've had some injuries this season, they have not had that core of their team, the Rice, the Saka, the Saliba, etc. They've had an incredible run of those players being fit. And it's a bit like Rodri's had an absolutely incredible injury run. I mean, I feel like I'm touching wood and everything every time he plays because
you're touching Chris Wood.
Like Chris Wood, mate.
We know that.
Chris Wood.
I've been lucky. That was lucky for us last week, mate.
But Arsenal got to deal with that. I think they've got another season of that. But I think if they go 3 seasons competing and falling short, so if they didn't win it this year, and they still could, and they didn't win it next year, I think then they'd see some of those players wanting to go and win something. You'd see, you'd see dual effect on Arteta because he'd be a top manager that someone else might want to take, and you know, he might get offered a big job in Spain or something. But you could also get some Arsenal fans saying he's had the opportunity to win stuff and he hasn't yet. Because I think where Arsenal have probably not been as sensible as they could is they should have really gone at winning a couple more of the cups. I know they have won cups in not the distant past, but really you start winning stuff, and I think that's what Villa might do with the Europa League. Start winning stuff, and that builds that culture.
Do you know what's in my head though, Rich? It's like when we first won the Premier League, I thought, I'd love your spin on this as well. If we wouldn't have won the Premier League for the first time then, and United had pipped us, like pretty much like we did with Arsenal, I don't think we'd have recovered from that for a long, long time. And I see pretty much similarities between Arsenal last season and ourselves when you know back in the 2012. You know,
well, I think you're right, Andy. I mean, I agree with you. And I think that shows with the Champions League. I mean, it's similarities where we got so close, and then we faltered at the last hurdle. And I think that's something we learned, you know, especially against when we lost to Chelsea, you know, when we lost to Real Madrid, you know, we learned from those experiences. And even though I think it kind of galvanized the squads to go, we're going to win this, you know, and they put everything into it. You know, I think as a squad and as a manager, that's something you learn from and you grow. And I think Arteta has possibly got some of that. But I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the kind of, you know, behind the scenes stuff with him, but he's so emotional. And I just think sometimes he kind of, unlike Pep, where Pep can be emotional, but he's also very kind of, you know, he'll say it how it is and he'll kind of put his stamp on the squad and say, this is how we're going to do it. Unlike Arteta, where I just feel he's just that little bit over the top and he's so desperate, and sometimes that desperation can feed into the players.
Yeah, well, I thought that's exactly what happened last season, whereas Pep has his moments, but it conserves it more and he controls it more, whereas an Arteta, he'll do like a Mourinho, if you like, running up the touchline and stuff like that, and he's over animated, and no doubt about it, that will feed down to the players. And I think it's because we've been there, done that. Like Arteta's still in his fledglings managerial career. Let's not forget that. I think they've done brilliant this season, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty, I think we will just get over the line. Hiya, Dad.
Yeah.
Evening.
And, you know, I think you needed a bit of that. Arsenal needed a bit of that Arteta emotion though, because I've always growing up and most of the last sort of 40 years watching Arsenal, I found them quite an emotionless club. You know, since probably in the days of Tony Adams and back then, you know, Pat Jennings, etc., they had a bit of that kind of emotion. But Wenger made them, you know, a bit like City get accused of. Wenger made them into a bit of a machine. You know, it was high quality. It was brilliant coaching. They were the most professional players English football had ever seen in terms of their lifestyles and everything else. But it wasn't based on the fans, you know, kind of being loud and dominant. And, you know, Arsenal was never a famous place to go for that emotion or whatever. And then they moved stadium, and that made it actually even more extreme. And, you know, it was years and years. It was the library, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but we all suffered a bit, yeah. But
we all suffered. We're moving to a different stadium, mate. I don't know. Even that numbnuts at it now as well, isn't it? That primitive Martin Keown absolutely slaughtering us. And again, this is on talk.
Well, he slaughtered Brighton. You know, it's the idea that clubs deliberately roll over against City. That was what he was coming out with, and it's just like, yeah. I mean, Spurs might, but generally, clubs don't just roll over, and you know, there'll be the odd player who hates the opposition. Like there were a couple of Coventry players the other week against United who came from Manchester City's academy, hated United. They had a reason to really want to win, but most of the players in the team, there might be a couple of United fans. There's going to be fans who don't really care, and it's just not personal like it is for us.
Martin, before, I don't know if you heard what we was talking about before, pal. We was talking about the scenario of us when we play Spurs and the Rags when they play Arsenal. Now, Spurs fans, and this is only fans, not players and managers and stuff like that. Spurs fans won't particularly want their team to beat us because it'll effectively hand Arsenal the title. And the same scenario is going to be United fans they'd rather Arsenal just slaughter them. So we don't get that 4p. It's thank God that mentality is only laid with fans rather than the players.
Are you trying to set me up there?
No, that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about before, mate.
Just saying, like, official Spurs supporters club writing letters saying, please don't.
Yeah, no, it's
great.
It's stupid because you should be going what's best for your football club.
Yep.
To me, it's small mind mentality doing that shit. That's something we did 25 years ago when we were like, open every team, beat United. And this is my issue with Arsenal. Arsenal are too busy. Or some Arsenal fans are too giddy on the not losing to Manchester City tag than they are possibly not winning the league. And the only way I can put it is that was us 25 years ago of, I don't care where we finish in the league as long as we beat United. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the season, United were the ones lifting the Premier League trophy and we were the ones getting relegated, but we beat United. And it's the way I put it is, do you want to win a battle or do you want to win a war?
Well, Spurs won't roll over for us because Big Ange, he's fighting for his future.
Spurs will roll over because we'll dick all over them.
Yeah, but there's one.
Go on, Martin.
There's one big. and Andy, there's one thing that people.
40 minutes. Shut up. Right, listen. Dad's back now. Behave. Back in your cage.
Yeah, fucking stepdad.
I feel better on this side anyway. I felt like you before, mate.
No, before I continue, I had a couple of mage things. I'm going to let these carry on. I just need to get these out. And I've had a couple of people ask me for a couple of requests because they're going through a hard time. Yes, my dad's fine now. He had a moment this evening that I had to just sort out, fun and games of the lovely disease. Simo Sups, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. You are a superstar. Thank you so much for your continued generosity. And Herbal gifting 10 memberships out to the channel. We will do the end of month prize draw on Saturday night. I promise you it will. Alan, thank you for the super chat. Super League is coming. It's not coming because I've told you 1,000 times it won't be allowed. That's why La Liga are going to the USA to play games. Alan, again, the only one to be banned is me. Super League is coming. I am not going into that because I'm going to protect you. Mark Harris, thank you for gifting 5 memberships as well. You are a legend. Chroma Base, thank you for 3 months for continued support. You are a legend. And Pardo Oaks for the 8 months again. Also another legend. Thank you so much. Your generosity
They're all legends, mate. They're all
amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. Also, I need to say this, a little bit of sad news. But this person has reached out and asked me to do this. Ian Wilkinson, who generally comes on the channel and is also in our spaces late on. Sadly, I've been speaking with Ian a little bit more lately because his mum had Alzheimer's. So we were discussing coming off the back of the Alzheimer's charity event. And sadly, his mother, Margaret Wilkinson, passed away this week through the disease, but an illness that caused it. She's been a Blue since 1946. Her great uncle was Horace Barnes, who scored the first goal at Main Road and the first hat trick in a Manchester derby. So there you go. And Ian is having a real difficult time at this period. So,
to Ian and all his family.
thoughts and prayers to him.
R.I.P. Ian's mum.
Yeah.
Rest in
Definitely.
peace to your mum, Ian.
Rest in paradise, Mrs. Wilkinson.
Yeah. Also, I got a shout out. Well, someone didn't, but I have a worker at Morrison's who says hello to me every time I go in my local Morrison's. Good evening to his son and to him. Thank you for the continued support on the channel. That is amazing. My missus runs away now when I go in Morrison's.
It's not Tesco, every little Adele.
So, yeah. Also, yeah, so there we go. We are all with you. And if anyone does want shout outs or anything, just get in touch, Mancunian Way, 894gmail.com, and we will get that sorted out for you. Obviously, I presume you've done the Mark Goldbridge shit, or Brent. I'm not going to call him Mark.
No,
Goldbridge.
we've not actually spoke about him, mate. I was going to say touched upon him.
About it generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally 2 weeks ago, as I was told by the people I get the info from, reportedly, I always say reportedly now, Andy shouts at me when I don't say reportedly and from. But Andy knows who the person is I get the info off. City sent this out 2 or 3 weeks ago. Cease and desist orders to a number of media outlets. Talk Sport, it wasn't just to Goldbridge. I want to get that. It wasn't just directed to Goldbridge. It was a general letter out to generally the big media people to say, stop or we will take legal action. Off the back of that, what was the guy called again? Our board member, beginning with G. Can never think of his name.
The one who's the Italian businessman.
Yeah, the guy who was very, very confident. Obviously, there is a strong belief.
Gino.
Oh, no, Giulinio.
David Ginola.
No, Pratt. He's French.
Gigi Fernandez.
Anyway. Oi, you're not doing a Renault Clio advert. Galassi. Thank you, David. Galassi has said, obviously, they are very confident. On the back of Khaldoon Al-Mubarak saying they are also very, very confident. They have thingy evidence or whatever it is. So, listen, the belief is City will be fine coming out of these charges. I've always believed they would be. I think it's just now the Premier League and City need to rectify this in a way which is suitable for all parties. Because
it's about time we fought back.
Yeah, and City decided they're not taking no shit no more. And it would look, I mean, LB said it earlier on, which I thought was a great point. Why would you send all these letters out if you were guilty or you thought you were going to be guilty? Because you make yourself look like kind of numpties by the end if you're going to play that game.
Totally agree, man.
Totally. Not going to make yourself. So someone's had the Iggy somewhere of, you're fine, don't worry, carry on.
So, and do you want to know what it suggests to me as well? The talks between Premier League and City behind the scenes have been going that well for us, where we're in a position to go, right, listen, Premier League, if you want to go official on it and stuff like that, this is what we've got. We've got a hell of a lot more. But on top of that, we are going for all the detractors, not like a farmer. I know they have tractors and stuff, but you know what I mean. Everybody who's gone for us,
combine harvesters as well.
City have almost gone, right, now it's our time. Now it's our time. We've listened to all this rubbish for 2 years now. And let's not forget, it was on the back of when the Premier League was under a little bit of pressure where the government wanted to bring an independent body in to start governing it. That's when they flexed the muscles, and they flexed them too quickly. And I said earlier, mate, I've always had faith in Khaldoon. That interview was very, very pivotal in all this.
Yeah, irrefutable evidence is not sort of language. It's quite strong language to be used at the time, and it's continued that way. So we'll say, obviously, I think Miguel Delaney, our friend over in New York, will obviously have had that as well. Probably Nick Harris. I can imagine Simon Jordan.
The way they'll get out of it is they'll just do what Cass did and charge us with, not complying, and it'll be a big fine.
The journalists
deductions for that.
Yeah, the journalists are generally a bit more savvy about it. Like you know, if you read Harris and Delaney, they do use alleged. They use a lot of innuendo rather than direct accusations. They don't usually come out and say, like, you know, some of the Liverpool channels and Goldbridge, etc., come out and they make a statement of fact about cheating or breaking the rules. Nick Harris uses an innuendo. So he'll never say this person is corrupt. He'll say it's a coincidence that this and this, which to an average intelligent reader will imply that he's implying that thing, but he'll never say it directly. And Delaney's a bit the same there, because they've got editors, they've got, you know, people who are there making sure they don't cross that line. I think some of the TV channels have been clamped down because when people write something, you edit it, you check it and everything else in the print media. But when you say something live, you know, I even think, you know, some of the Sky football pundits have been spoken to because they were getting a bit free with how they described it. And suddenly,
like Gary Neville.
Well, yeah, but now if anyone says anything on Sky or NBC, that someone will say allegedly straight afterwards, the presenter will step in and correct it. And I've seen that a couple. Yeah, but they weren't doing that 6 months ago. They're being.
He gets away with it, Rich, by using. He puts question mark or allegedly. So you're legally all right then. You're covered from a legal standpoint.
Well, the thing is, look at that platform. Look at the platform they have got to sort of like try to discredit us. Rich, do you think it's a bit sanguine?
I think City have been very sanguine about this for quite a long time. I think that's true.
Listen, anyway,
scroll all the way up for that.
I don't want to spend ages on that because there's not much else to go into on that.
No.
The boarding bodies. Listen, I talked about that because the amount of shit that's come out this week, and even from I do think some City fans have fallen into that gap of believing what media and other channels are doing. This is the way we play. This pop pass, as Judge Mo calls it, you know, Mo agenda. It is basically it's a stick to beat us with. If Arsenal played the Pep way and United played the Pep way and Tottenham, well, they kind of do, but not. If Real Madrid did this, it would all be perfect. I've never seen defensive, backline, low block football celebrated this season the way it's been celebrated. I remember the days of Jose Mourinho, etc., being absolutely hounded out of clubs because he played boring, pragmatic football. But now, because you've now got to play sexy football and good football and always on the front foot and passing, and now we celebrate pragmatic, low block.
Like I said to you on the phone earlier, mate, if it's that boring, how come pretty much every single team in the world wants to play it that way? Including
Saturday and Sunday league teams.
Absolutely. You know, but I'm a believer. Don't play it if you're absolutely crap, because the amount of times we see.
Don't do a Brighton. Don't do a Brighton. I will give De Zerbi credit. De Zerbi tried it. The trouble is he hasn't got the players to do that sort of football, with due respect. Yeah. But at least he had the balls to try it. And the trouble is,
they had a fair few injuries as well.
But you now hear the excuses. Well, do you want them to play like Brighton and get slapped 4-0? So what City fans have to realise is you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Ignore it. It's news. They are jealous.
Let's simplify it. We're hated, but we don't care. I actually like us being hated now. It used to be
chip shot paper. City fans have got to stop listening to the media and listen just to City fans and City channels. We can all disagree with each other. We can all sit and have an opinions with each other, but don't have an opinion with a United fan or a bloody Liverpool fan, because you're not going to agree with them because they've got agendas.
It depends on, you know. I reckon when
they're all not bad.
I think there are two kinds of fans. You know, there are fans who've been watching 50 years who are very utterly embarrassed by their online and some of their more vocal supporters. I reckon the fans that are our generation of a lot of clubs, even clubs who have got agendas against us, are very, very different to the online. You know, it's like, you know, you're not the same fan as some, you know, influencer from the US who's a new City fan. You know, there's difference of fan bases, and I do think there's an element of United and Liverpool fans that are utterly embarrassed by, you know, the Goldbridges and Anfield editions and all that thing of the world.
Goldbridge, by his own admission, can't even go to Old Trafford because
I've never met a fan who praises City outside of City. Never met them, Rich. So if you have, congratulations.
There are United fans who want every one of our employees over there. They in terms of actually knowing. Look at it. Jim Radcliffe is there praising City every time he opens his mouth nowadays, trying to get everyone at United who used to work for us. I mean, you know, he's going full copying.
Talking fan bases, not about the clubs. Yeah, clubs are clubs. It's about the fan bases, Rich.
Yeah.
The thing is it's the old expression that nothing sells like bad news, and City are that at the moment.
Or controversy.
Yeah, we are the you know, the bad news. We are the
not the real,
you know, the club that are causing all the problems that, you know, nobody likes, because we've bought the league, and, you know, we've bought all the best players, and, you know, we've bought the best manager, and it's never going to stop. Because,
you know, the funny thing is, you go on, you know, you watch some of these Liverpool channels.
That's true on League One, by the way.
80% of the Liverpool fans on some of those channels would say they'd rather City win the league than Arsenal, because you know, they'll say, oh, it's because City are cheating, or, you know, don't meet as many City fans. But the truth is, I think there's an element of a few big clubs that hate City fans. I reckon most fans I chat to, you know, even clubs like Chelsea, Sheffield Wednesday, Newcastle, West Ham, they've got a lot of time for City. They don't read
West Ham. To be fair, we've always
a lot of Newcastle. Newcastle fans always have a good discussion with.
West Ham have changed, and West Ham fans are changing now.
I've not seen any.
I have. I've seen loads changing.
But I think you have to differentiate between YouTube and the real world.
115, blah blah blah. It's the same rhetoric, and doesn't change. I've had Southampton fans say, and this is how far it goes down. Southampton fans. I'm like,
the problem is when you've had
on YouTube, and that's not the real world. YouTube is YouTube. It's about extreme opinions. It's about controversy. It's not the bloke you meet at work or in the pub.
All right, what's what you talk about? Every single away fan that comes to the Etihad sings about it, Rich.
That's banter, though.
That's banter. I mean, that's you know. That's banter. When you think of what gets sung by away fans over the years, it's just
Martin. You know, do you want to sing "Kumbaya"?
No, but I'm not having this. That
there's only one Chris Wood.
No. I don't believe what Rich is saying. Maybe where you are, Rich, where I am, and the people I speak to, it's very different, Rich.
That's the YouTube. That is the YouTube world.
Hated, Rich. Deal with it.
The thing is, though, is that because this story has been running for nearly 2 years, and City have not really come out and defended themselves properly, it's run away. It's a runaway story that no one from City has bothered to really kind of say, hang on a minute, no. If they'd have done this when this first broke, it may not be as hyped and people may not have kind of run away with their mouth as much as they currently have.
I think it's the exact opposite, Ozzy. I think that media training and the way the media says that if you have things banting around, the more you come out and deny something, the more you fight it, generally the bigger the story becomes, and the more people believe you're guilty. You know, whether you're guilty or innocent, you know, or guilty or not guilty. I think the more you make of it, it's why some famous people get stories about themselves in the paper, and they've taken the view that I'm never ever gonna make a comment on it. because if I make a comment, however made up and silly this story is, I'm going to make it 10 times bigger. And I think that's, and also you've got to remember that what can City do? All City can do is say we're not guilty, because everything in this case is subject to non-disclosure, very, very strict non-disclosure agreements. So if City say a word about something that's in that legal case, they could be actually prejudicing their case and risking sanctions, legal and from the Premier League, for doing the wrong thing. So City have got to meet all the legal obligations, and
I'm with LB on this one. We do need to, we do need, how many times, and I said this before about out as much as they hate United and Ferguson, they ban people regardless. Now, I get what you're saying, Rich, about...
Oh, no, we can do... I've got nothing against certain individuals who do that, but in general, you've got to just...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if City don't want to come out in public and say, we're innocent, la-di-da-di-da, what they can do, Carragher, Neville, you ain't coming in our club. Delaney, you ain't coming in our club. Harris, you're not coming in our club. We've got the right as a football club. It's our. We've got a right to say you ain't coming in our ground. F off.
But the thing is, if we said no to Carragher and Neville, the Premier League then has the right to not give us the television money.
Hang on, Forest did it. Forest did it a weekend. Forest banned Neville and Carragher from Forest. They just put two other Muppets there. That's a simple thing.
Yeah, because that was probably agreed behind the scenes and everything else. But legally, if you ban the TV channels for doing what they want, they can then withhold the money.
The people who are representing.
But that you could breach the contracts, and if that became a massive thing, it would get paid. They probably weren't. Quite possibly weren't even going to be there anyway. Forest. So you just got to be careful.
As much as I kind of understand where you're coming from, and I kind of agree with you to a degree that sometimes saying nothing is the best solution. But I think when it's come to this point now where it's just it has impacted in some respects our reputation. Do you know what I mean? And I think at some point, like Andy said, even if it's not publicly, if it's behind the scenes, City have to do something.
It's open.
You can't let it run away.
It's left everything open to interpretation from rival fans, etc., etc. Seriously, we should have banned the arses of the Nevilles of this world and stuff like that. We really, really should.
And then some, but then worse people would have been sent, and we'd have been making that story look like it's true.
Listen. Let's ban
them. And then we get no TV money, and we fail FFP by 200 million. I mean, I think the emotion, you can't put the emotion above the law. Richard, in this, the law is the fact.
Richard. So if somebody's slaughtering you and your family and stuff like that, what are you going to do? Invite them in your house for a cup of tea?
If they're defaming me, and they're not. If they're defaming me, yes.
That's what the Nevilles and that are doing to our club, mate, and the fans.
Most of them, there has been very little, like Goldbridge and a few of the Liverpool channels have defamed. They've stated things as fact. In the main, and there may be the odd exception, Neville and Carragher are pretty smart at allegedly, or they'll say the cloud hanging over the club. There's a lot of things like that are absolutely not defamatory, not incorrect. It isn't incorrect to say City have been charged 115 times. It isn't incorrect to say there's a shadow or a question mark. Those things City can do nothing about. When someone says City are cheating and states it as a fact, we can go and say something. When someone says something that isn't a verifiable, fact, we can do it. But when someone says something like charges or allegedly, they're not doing anything that is actually against the rules, and that's why people have got to cross the line till we can hammer them. If they don't cross that line,
I mean, I think sometimes you've got to put a line in the sand and say,
the law's the law. You put a line in the sand. If you put a sign in the wrong place, it does nothing.
Yeah, but there's defamation of character.
Carragher and Neville.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rich has stopped being a football fan again. Rich is now.
No, I'm a fan because doing stupid things that aren't backed up by the law doesn't help City, and I want City to help City. I want City to come out of this good, and there's no point in City doing emotional things that will fail because it makes us look worse. So we've got to do things that we know we can succeed.
Rich, wasn't
We've got
that
to
long
win.
ago? Carragher was taking the piss out of us, going, "Oh, the charge, alleged." Forget the word allegedly.
but
If I was in charge, no, listen. If I forget the word allegedly, right? Listen, because I could say you're a murderer allegedly. That opens it up into interpretation, and you get people hanging on everyone's word. And
but you could, and that's the point.
So
if I was charged with murder, you could say
it.
you're a murderer allegedly.
No, I'd go spit it.
You can.
You can make a joke about it and put
but Rich, as LB said, Neville has outright called us liars.
He's
outright called us liars.
We can take action then. And
we are doing, Rich. LB, we've said, Rich, we've said cease and desist or let us out.
Yeah, that's why
they're all shutting up now.
But I'm saying we couldn't do it 2 years ago. Like everyone's saying we should have done it at the beginning, but you can't do it until people actually do something that is defamatory and against the law. You can't just say
we could have banned individuals from the ground. I
think that would have made the story 10 times bigger and would have cost City.
Rich, it can't be any bigger than it currently is. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
of course it could.
I'll tell you what, Rich, I tell you what it would have done though. Listen, but just please bear with me, right? What it would have done, I get that. If City would have come out in the early days, right? You won't get City fans now starting to believe the media, rival fans, and other fan channels and stuff like that, because City fans now are starting to believe. Well, not all City fans. There's a certain kind of City fans what are starting to believe that and starting to question whether we're actually guilty or not. Now, if City had come out, and I'm going to use them Muppets, Waldorf and Statler again, Neville and Carragher. Now, if at the beginning when they started, in my opinion, slandering us, forget the word allegedly, right? Now, if we'd have come out and banned them straight away, the average City fan would have gone, you know something, City have banned them, and rightly so. But these two, plus all your Delaney's, and you go, they've got on this crest of a wave.
And I guarantee you, because the Premier League would have said,
because City have done nothing about it, right? Because City have done nothing about it. It's been open to interpretation. So there's been the average City fans have been thinking City have kept quiet, so they must be guilty of something.
You know, I think the opposite. I think if we tried to ban Neville and Carragher, they'd have fallen back on the contracts, and they would have said, right, we're not going to pay you your TV money, which then creates us a massive FFP problem. Because they will have contracts saying that Sky are entitled to bring their equipment, they're entitled to be in this far before the game, they're entitled to send who they want. They'd have done that, and there would have then been Sky shows about this to explain why it's happened, and we would have made it 10 times bigger. Now, I'm not saying I don't like, particularly Carragher. I hate the way he is, but when you do something allegedly you're taking the piss,
people
you can't stop it.
No, Rich, people are giving you straight examples now.
Yeah, and I've got no problem. If he says that there's a liar, you can take action. And I've not said
this is what's happening. We are seriously having major allegations said against us now by these people. It's not just a little bit, Rich. They're not. Some are not using
when they defame us and they break the rules.
Right, take action. When
they just take the piss or they say allegedly. Yeah,
no, Rich, they have.
But my point is, Martin, you take action when they've done it, and we have, and that's fine. I'm not arguing with that. But you cannot.
Spot on there. Carragher called us cheats live on TV with millions of viewers. Same with overlap. Absolutely bang on the money.
I need to do these because we've had some more very generous people. Matt Fogg, again, you legend with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. There's nearly 250 of you in here. Please smash that like button. Give it a big thumbs up so we try and get to 200 likes. And also, we are less than 300 away from 4K. We're literally trying to hit 4K by the end of May. We tried 5K, but can we get 270 people by 4 weeks? 4 weeks.
Last time I did 4K, I was about 12 running.
Alan, thank you for your super chat. City should sue them and vote a no confidence in the board of the Premier League. Why?
Hang on. No, I agree with him.
I don't get this vote. No, I don't get this vote of no confidence in the Premier League BS. Because this is the point you and Alan are forgetting. It's the club's under. Stop. You're all going in Masters. Masters is a wanker, yes, but he's led by the clubs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's them doing us the damage, mate. So should we roll over and have our belly tickled?
That Rich.
A vote of no confidence in the Premier League needs
Easy,
14
mate.
people or whatever want to vote against it. So it happens when 14 clubs want to get rid of them.
He must be angry if he's come on when he said it's his night off.
Yes.
He was his
It
night
must
off.
be. Even
Yeah,
LB.
That's what we need. Get the viewers in. I think you need to punt this out, Martin. Get everyone on.
You've given me a date
Are
tonight.
the club right or are the fans right?
Jesus,
Sorry,
you give me a
LB.
date
Jesus,
tonight.
we'll have bloody
Rich,
Alan
you've got
on
to
next.
Side of bed.
Yeah, get Al on as well. Alan, come on.
No. Alex,
No, Alan will just go on about the Super League because the Super League starting next season, according to Alan.
Thank you, by the way,
because of the wage cap.
I love that name, Bite Your Dick Off. Thank you for becoming a channel member. You are a legend as well. So, LB,
Our best
you were in the
strikers
chat.
ever.
You
Do you
were in
remember
the
that,
chat.
Martin? Best
Yeah.
striking partnership ever. One chop and dick off. Best ever.
Bobbitt.
I still like George.
Oscar Bobbitt. You can have that.
No, I did like the George Weah one chop combo. We only saw it for one game.
I meant
we
by
got
the
these
name.
one.
The name.
Yeah, right. So, LB, you heard Rich. You were in the comments telling him we were
Sorry.
talking garbage.
I just think,
Well-
like, at the end of the day, yeah, since these charges come in, we done what? We had one interview from Caldoon, right? Who basically said, like, didn't really say too much. He just said, once it's all over, we'll speak, right? And at the end of the day, who is it that's been defending our football club? It's been the fans. It's been the fans the whole time. Do you know what I'm saying? Now I get what Richie's saying. Like you got to be careful, but like we are literally being attacked every single day from someone in the media, whether it's the newspaper, whether it's the TV, whether it's the big accounts on. Like literally, we're just getting attacked the whole time. Yeah, and who is it that's left to pick up and defend the club and defend basically everything that's happened over the last 10 years? It's us, the fans. And like at the end of the day, right, I'm not being funny here, but like what's annoying to me is like UEFA leaked news when the CAS hearing was going on, and City was not happy about it and obviously complained about it, and nothing happened as we expected. So if City are that confident that we're not guilty, why can't City just like leak some news or something, or defend us or do something? It just feels to me like it's just dragging on, and we're just getting pelters every single day off everyone, and we're just left to pick up the pieces. Do you get me? And I tell you something, yeah. City fans will not accept. I said this all the time on my channel. City fans will not accept, yeah, a generic statement if we get found not guilty, like they did with CAS. When the UEFA thing was done, and we got found not guilty from CAS, City released a statement, basically said, it's all done, us and UEFA, we're going to be friends now, move on. And we all just kind of went, yeah, no worries, whatever. City fans will not accept that with this Premier League. If the Premier League come out tomorrow and say, City not guilty, like, is what it is, it's all done. And City just release a statement and say, oh, yeah, it's all done now, we're glad it's all done, let's move on. I'm telling you, mate, City fans will not accept that at all.
I agree. We've been ridiculed for 2 years now.
Exactly.
And we shouldn't be ridiculed because do you go along the lines of we can ban these individuals regardless whether City are legally obliged to stay quiet and stuff like that. For these muppets, they shouldn't even be allowed in the ground.
For a long time,
You can ban it,
City
but yeah, you've got City have to meet and this is the difference between the reality of the law and the reality of
Alan agrees
business
with
the emotion. No, like fans, all we care about is the emotion. We care about City, not quite Scouse, but City is like a family, a religion. It's not a business. It's not a thing. It's about how we feel. It's about the emotion. The trouble is the club itself, the legal entity, has to look at what the law is. So if the contract from Sky says you have to allow our presenters in the ground, and that is your legal obligation to them, and in return we get paid £3 million a week or something from Sky, and we have to accept that for that 3 million they're paying for access to the club, they're paying for watching the game, and that we're not always going to get favourable things. When they defame themselves, and this is where you're right, LB, if they say as a statement of fact, City are cheats, we should, take action to that. And I've noticed certainly on NBC, because I don't really watch Sky here, but get NBC feed, that when Carragher said a couple of weeks ago, he made some comment on the charges, and straight away the reporters saying alleged charges, or saying that isn't proven yet. So the TV channels are trying to do that to cover their backsides.
So why can't we ban Carragher from the Etihad because he's
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You ban Carragher, and Sky say, right, we're gonna the Premier League's now in breach of our contract. We're gonna actually, and we sign up in the Premier League deals to agree to 101 things we're going to do for the broadcasters. So if we breach the contract, we don't get paid, and I don't think it's going to help our FFP.
We're going on assumption that is the case. Listen,
do you think a TV channel, a multi, are going to sign a £5 billion deal not protecting their interests? That it's not an assumption. It's 99.999999%.
For a long time,
Rich banned them both at weekend.
Yeah, for a long time, City have basically just been playing by the rules. Do you know what I mean? They've basically been sitting back and just going, like you, Rich, saying, if we don't deal with it, people can make their own judgments. We've come out with a statement from Khaldoon saying, we're confident that we haven't done anything wrong. We'll see you in court, and left it at that. The problem is, though, Rich,
that's all he can do. He can't talk about the charges without breaking the NDA.
What I'm trying to say, though, Rich, is as kind of a point to LB is saying, it's the fans, though, Rich, that are suffering. And Khaldoon and the Sheikh could walk away tomorrow, up sticks and just go away. We as the fans are going to be left with it. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not going anywhere.
Honestly,
we've got to
I hate
deal
to
with
say
the
this,
fallout.
but fans need to toughen up a bit. I mean, you need to get your dirty, cheating bastards mug and take the piss out of them.
Hang on, I'm coming in.
City fans have been through.
Stop, Rich. Stop right now. Stop right now, because I'm coming in.
Are you Spice Girls?
I've sat patiently. But when you come out with that bullshit that you just walked out of your mouth with, Sunshine, I'm not having it. The fans need to toughen up. What do you think?
Yeah, we need to be what City used to be and just take the piss back. Take the piss back. Go to Wembley with 30,000 T-shirts with dirty, cheating bastards on them. And
no, hang on. When did the UEFA case start? 2 years ago, and then we had the one before that.
About 9 years ago.
So we've had this. No, so it's even longer. We've had this, Rich, for 9 years, and because of the NDA and everything else, where LB's spot and Andy's been spotting in the past for this is, we're the ones who have carried this. We are the ones who've defended. We have been the front line, taking bullet after bullet after bullet. Andy, LB, me, whoever else, you, Ozzy, everyone here, we're the ones on these shows getting crap thrown at us.
But that's
Rich, 1 minute. Shut up.
United fans have to take crap every day for being absolute shite. Scousers have to take it every day for being scouse. I mean, it's just the way of the world. That's what
argument is that? Liverpool have to take it for being scout.
But that's what being a fan's about. Being a fan is about the fact that rival fans are going to throw pelters at you no matter what. You can be the cleanest club on earth, and you're still going to get.
I'm on rivalry, and not even let me speak, mate. Now,
yeah.
Point I make. I'm not talking about people in the comments. We go on shows, we go on channels, we try and have an educated football discussion, and you can't anymore. You never talk, LB, am I right or wrong, Gander? We never talk football anymore. It comes to, we talk about transfers. It goes on to, we're buying everyone. LB did a show today. You can just get rid of Claudio Bravo and bring in Edison because you're cheats. Because everything comes back to cheats. And the thing is, Rich, do you want to know who's fully to blame at this? Because we've tried to explain it. We've tried to explain what these 115 have. but with it not being Stefan, whoever else who's been on the front line doing this.
But you make the assumption that other people,
but
fans don't care about the bloody truth. They just care about the banter.
And that is poor, Rich. They've not explained it well. There are still people out there who think 115 is because we've always spent money on transfers.
And do you know why, Martin? Because if they put that in the newspaper, people read the first three lines,
Rich,
think this is boring, and they wouldn't read it. If it wasn't
for some fans, Rich, nobody would have a clue what they're talking about because the truth would never get out.
But Martin, you're making an assumption, right? You guys live in a country where a massive decision that shaped every single one of your lives was shaped by a massive vote that everyone in the country over 18 got to vote to shape the cultural and economic future of the country. No one, not one part of that was about facts. It was about emotion on both sides, because fundamentally people don't have the attention span to bother learning what the facts are, and it's all about emotion. And emotion in football is about, you're going to find whatever it is, whether it's Singapore noodle sponsors for United in 1988 or whatever it is, you're always going to find the thing to banter about. And, you know, that will be the case. And City would be getting bantered about oil money and everything else, even if these allegations weren't there. If the allegations weren't there, it would be about throwing the money and sugar daddies. And it's always going to happen. And I think we just have to accept that. What the club has to do is, using the law, go and hammer people when they break the law or they breach the NDA, and go and get them. But until that point, there's nothing you can do. You just got to just take the piss. I think the best way to deal with it is Andy's mug. That is the way you deal with it.
Can I ask you a question?
Embrace it.
What should City do then? If City get found not guilty with this, should City just release a statement and say, "Oh, we're moving on"? Or what do you think City should do? Because I don't think it's acceptable that City just release a statement and say, "Oh, we're moving on now." Not with everything that City fans online and at the games have had to deal with. I think they need to do something. I don't think it's acceptable that City just go.
You know, what would I like to do versus what they should do? What I'd love us to do.
It was them.
It depends. Honestly, depends on the advice.
Liverpool fans, as passionate as they go on about they are, if they were in our position right now, do you think they would accept just Liverpool putting out a statement going, well, it's done. You know, we've been found.
They'd be whining it's unfair, and you know, complaining it's unfair, but they'd still be having to pay by. What I'd like us to do is do a British-wide bus tour with all the trophies, open top bus all the way down from Penzance to John O'Groats, with telling the world that we're innocent. What City will do is they'll sit down and they'll find out if there are any legal angles they can pursue, and they probably will. But City will want it in the past, because City will not want cheats mentioned with City. So they're not going to carry on for 2 years and keep it in the media. They're going to want to make it history, and they're going to want it out.
But when does it stop though, Rich? Because we had
City will do the opposite of what the fans want.
But Rich, when does this end? We had it in 2014. We had it with Cass at UEFA. Now we
I thought you were going to say 24, Billy Meredith.
That's my point. When does it end?
Do we just go, oh, it's all done now, it's all in the past, and then in 2-3 years, it's like, oh, the new thing's back, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like now Girona are getting involved, like with something that's like, I read the actual article, right? I don't know if you guys have seen it, that Dov kick, that Ukrainian striker that signed for Girona. Now that's apparently dodgy, and that's all being put across the media. That's a dodgy deal. If you actually read the comments from the agent, it's got nothing to do with Girona. It's all to do with the agent. But now that's something that's dodgy, and City are involved. And it's just like, I just feel like it's just a never-ending situation.
And you know, the only way that changes is generationally. The only way that changes is when
Rich, this generation.
It's not a generational thing.
It will only change when the media isn't full of United and Liverpool. The media and the readerships are United and Liverpool dominated.
Stand up and say, enough's enough. You say something now, and we'll take you to court over it. Is what they should have done.
But you can only take someone to court for something that breaks the law, not something you don't like. I can call someone ugly. I can call someone ugly. I can say they're stupid. I can say things that
it's defamation of character, Rich.
Rich,
I
we
think
want
you need to go and study the law. You to
Rich.
get defamation, you've got to prove a damage. Otherwise, you'll spend $2 million.
There's plenty of
suing someone
damage,
for
Rich.
20K.
We see it every day.
Prove
You've
it.
got to be able to prove a damage, so Rich.
You've got to prove that we're the richest
Come
football,
on, Rich.
richest. Look at our financial figures. You tell me we can go to court with a straight face and claim our commercial revenue has been hurt by this.
Right, forget that, right? With what you said there,
Not
Rich.
a hope. Not a hope.
Rich, with what you said about we should parade the trophies from Land's End to John O'Groats, I would have more satisfaction as a City fan, City coming out and banning these knobheads who've been slandering us for all these years than parading
Alleged knobheads.
And what would that achieve? What would that achieve apart from an emotional hit for 30 seconds? What would that achieve? Zero.
Rich, I'll tell you what it is. Rich,
Because we're coming out fighting rather than going, look what we've got.
But you fight by winning. You don't fight by Pyrrhic symbolic victories. You fight by winning.
About us winning, Rich.
Yeah, but I don't care what they think. They care, but I care what I care about.
Right, stop.
I don't care what Scousers or United fans think. I care what I think.
I'm going to throw something at you now. Who owns Manchester City Football Club?
A holding company predominantly owned by.
Hang on, right. Well, let's not do the predominantly.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
The customers.
Abu Dhabi.
Sheikh Mansour.
Right.
Yeah.
Sheikh Mansour is an Arab. Billionaire Arab. Very, very wealthy. Very, very successful. One thing I do know, they are very big on reputation. The Arab people, very big on reputation. They do not like any kind of slander, any kind of, what's the word, the correct word? I only know this because I work in an Arab school. I know how it works. I know the community. I know how the family oriented. Everything is about honor, and it is about being looked upon in the correct way and not being looked at as being cheating or anything like that. That's the one thing. You don't bring shame on them. So yes, Rich, when they are called cheaters and every other word they've been called, it does affect, because their image, they want their image, Rich.
But you've got to, but Martin, that's not my point. Is not that it's bad, it's that you've got to prove the economic damage. And I don't think any barrister is going to stand up in court and say our commercial revenue suffered, when the defense barrister will come out and say, it's the best commercial revenue in the world, despite this, and this. And we would just open up a court case that we would lose, and it would back up everything everyone said against us. We would just be amplifying the case against us 100 times. We're not going to do that. We're not stupid. That's self-defeating. We've got to win.
There's only Martin Samuel who's had the balls to come out and actually say it's all about racism, this. And I believe racism is a big part of what the agenda against City.
I think it's all about money. I think it's about US football clubs wanting to make profit, and that we put a risk in that.
He's starting to dig into Newcastle now. Who owns them? Listen,
because it's a threat to profit. It's all about money.
Anyway,
it's all about
I think
clubs
we need
who want money.
We're going to end up going down a real road, and there's never going to be an end. There's never going to be an end gate in it. And
the end gate will be 23 Premier Leagues.
I'll be so glad
journalists. A big amount of journalists and TV people who come from City.
No, big up LB for coming on. Yeah. And
yeah, definitely. LB,
I need to do these super chats. Right, we've done that one. Alan, thank you. Rich is right. Richard Leo is crying. Thank you, Alan, but you would agree. If Rich said to you it's raining outside, you would not go and look outside, Alan. You believe it. Alan, thank you. Remember, a YouTube member. Really do appreciate that, mate. You are a legend. Rational Cat Fat, thank you. City have given them enough string to hang themselves. I agree. I think they have. LB, thank you. Much appreciated, mate. Yes, LB. Spurs are on the beach. I said they were. Spurs are done. They're done.
Do you know what? Do you know what everyone's forgotten about with Spurs is that because United play Arsenal 2 days before.
You're going to say if Spurs further down, aren't you?
No. The only way that Spurs have a risk of not getting in the 5th spot is if United beat Arsenal. But if United beat Arsenal, the City Spurs game probably doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So that weekend,
all in our favour.
it's just set up for us.
Alan
because-
again. Thank you. Alan, we need to ban you on the channel more often. You bring your wallet out when you're on a ban, mate. I love it.
Alan, you banned off my channel as well.
LB, ban him off yours. City should sue the Premier League for brand damage. Not that simple, Alan, because again, it's a private members club and you're essentially suing yourself.
I love Alan's law ideas are even better than most.
You've got to be very careful on this sue the Premier League because you're suing yourself. Richard Masters is in charge of it, but he's not the Premier League. The Premier League keeps saying it's a private members club. That's why they need 14 votes. So you can't just go out sue off the Premier League because you're suing the clubs.
There's only one person who wins in suing, and that's the lawyers.
LTech, thank you very much. Really appreciate that, mate, for your love and support. Love and respect, Martin. Appreciate all City content creators. Thank you very much. Trust me now, and me and LB and everyone have already discussed all this. When we get done in this, we're all out on the town. We're all out.
Win or lose, have a booze. Win or lose, have a booze.
We're all out. Screw you all. We're going to go out with a big 115 banner.
I think everyone on Twitter's taking a day off, that's for sure.
I tell you, I bet YouTube's quiet as a mouse that day. But you don't hear anything. I like LB Shame. He gives Terry so much time, though. Don't put LB on a spotlight. LB's words, history will judge us. Rich, move on. Right, transfers. People have asked me, do I know anything? Bruno Guimaraes, I got told this today, allegedly. Don't shoot me, Amber. I did say allegedly. Bruno Guimaraes.
Oh, you can say what you want. You can say what you want if you say allegedly at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm all right. I'm allegedly.
Allegedly. Martin's in the know.
Bruno Guimaraes' agent did speak with City today. Frimpong is back on. Musiala. The problem is with Bayern, they can't give Sane a new contract, Kimmich a new contract, and Musiala all a new contracts, is what I was told.
What about Dyer? Can they give him one?
Something has to give. So I do think one of those three may be sold. It's who? Because they can't.
They must be wanting to keep Musiala over everyone else because of his age.
Because you think about it this way. To put the money on the table for Kimmich, Musiala, and Sane, that's a lot of cheddar cheese they've got to put down in one go. And if you notice, every manager's rejecting them at the moment.
And the new manager will want some funds anyway, won't it? Because new manager into Bayern.
So, yeah. And what was the other thing? I did ask if there was anything in the Grealish stuff. He said no. And then that was it. There wasn't a lot more on it. But I know, Ozzy, you asked a question about transfers, didn't you?
Did I? No, I did.
I'll just go and take a look, Ozzy, for you.
Yeah, no. I did say that I think, it's something that needs to kind of be talked about is that in the summer, do we need to start looking at players that are coming in for after Pep leaves? Because Pep has only got one season left on his contract. Obviously, there are rumours that he may extend. There are also rumours that he may leave. And I just think, is it time that City started planning this summer for the possibility if he does go? Because as much as we've got some brilliant players, I don't think all those players can play the way they can for Pep for another manager. So do we need to start planning this summer's signings to be coming in and possibly being ready for another manager to come in the summer after?
I don't think so. I don't think so, bro, because the manager that we're going to come in, it's not going to be like United when they went from like Moyes to Van Gaal. Like the manager that we're going to get is going to be a similar style to Pep Guardiola. And he's not going to be this exact same style, but it's it's going to be a similar style to where the players, you're not going to need wholesale changes, which is where United went wrong over the last decade. They chopped and changed managers with different styles. So I don't think so. I just think keep doing what you're doing. And when Pep leaves, whenever he leaves, you bring in a manager who plays a similar way. And then obviously hopefully the players can just sort of pick up where they left off. But I don't think you start changing. Plus, I'd also ask the question, it's like, do you have any idea what manager we're going to get? Because I look around at the manager market, it's fucking arse, man. Like, no one even knows who you're going to get.
I think they will know behind the scenes, though, LB. They'll have some sort of like plan. They will know when Pep's going as well. So Pep will have a big say in who comes in as well, I believe.
Who would you reckon, though, Andy? Who you reckon? Because I wanted
I
company,
agree.
but like,
I agree with you. You look around, and there's nothing what stands out, is there? Like a lot of City fans was going, "Oh, company will follow." Listen, company's not.
I'll do it. Cheap.
The thing is that you're going to need somebody who's going to come in, because it's kind of like a bit like Klopp. Whoever comes in is taking that massive mantle, of Pep Guardiola, who's been so successful for this club, that it's going to be so difficult. It's like when Ferguson left, it was always going to be a really impossible job to follow on. And that's what happened at United. I agree with LB saying that, they didn't plan it right. And I think City should, and we all hope that they've got a better succession plan, but it's who you look at, because as much as I agree with LB that, they'll look at a manager with a similar style, at the same time, there isn't another Pep Guardiola out there. Do you know what I mean? We can all say that. We can't see someone who's definitely nailed on that we can see coming up to replace Pep. I think you've got to think about bringing in certain players that can play for a different manager. Okay, maybe some similar style, but you've still got to look at, they've got to manage those players. They're not going to manage them like Pep has done.
But Ozzy, unless you've got that manager lined up like we did with Pellegrini and Pep, where we knew Pep 12 months in advance, you can't do that because you don't even know who the manager is. And I think we always look at United as how they failed to do it, but being older, well, apart from Andy, who I suspect is older, but I remember when Liverpool transitioned 3 times or 4 times their manager and kept the success going equally because of the Anfield boot room, whatever they used to call it. But they went from Shankly, and Paisley actually did better than Shankly. And then they went to Joe Fagan, Kenny Dalglish, and they maintained success through 4 or 5 managers, the 80s. But
Rich,
they managed
it. Can you get your dog to bark more? It was talking more sense than you.
Yeah.
Before.
No, that's what happens. And I think City will go for a manager who is close. And I think if Pep was asked who his next manager is, he's probably. I
won't be smiling.
I think Pep loves De Zerbi. If you watch them for about 5 minutes before the Brighton game, and at the end of the game, Pep loves him, and by all accounts, Pep actually talks to him quite often, and actually has taken ideas this season into City that he's seen De Zerbi tweak the system. So I think that's one person who's high up on the list. I think Miguel at out in Spain, doing 1 year in the Champions League.
Is it Miguel and Michel?
Season is it? I don't know. Is it Michel? But I think him, Girona. And I think the other one where I like LB's comment on company, and if we did get a person like that in, I think we'd have to get him in a year before Pep goes and make them.
Can I throw some at you?
Because I don't think you could bring them in cold.
Let me throw some at you all. I'll just read the super chat. I'm going to throw a hypothetical. Or is it a hypothetical? Breaking news, Sir Alan Sands transferred to LB's channel. Bye. Bye.
That's what I was laughing at before I saw that one coming up.
LB, do you want our transfer of our lawyer as well?
Yeah, you're going to need a lawyer with Alan on your channel.
LB will need one of these, a beeping machine.
Hypothetical question. De Zerbi leaves Liverpool. Sorry, leaves Liverpool.
Brighton.
Leaves Brighton. Company goes to Brighton. For 2 or 3 years. 2 years. And then maybe comes to Sam.
Let me throw one at you then.
Hazard.
Why has Alonso not gone to Bayern?
Because he's going to Real Madrid.
Ancelotti going in a year.
We're going to Real Madrid.
Elder's right in the chat as well. I need to pick up my man Di Michelis. Martin Di Michelis was a manager for the youth academy at Bayern Munich. He's gone to River Plate.
Now?
River Plate is the best River Plate manager they've had by statistics for like the last 30 years.
I just feel we need somebody established, LB, who's we can't. We've got to around. Listen, and let's not forget when Ferguson.
Get off halfway through the season.
Part of the problem when Ferguson left, Ferguson didn't leave the rags in great shape, thankfully. So that'll be the difference with Pep. Pep will leave it in an immaculate position where whoever comes in, it should be just seamless, straight in. But it's got to be the right person. Girona manager, everyone's going, yeah, Girona manager. He's not proven. He's not. We need some experience there. We really do.
But you've got to understand though that the whole basis when Pep hands over, Pep had managed a season and a bit in a reserve team when he became manager of Barcelona.
By the way, this wasn't the question.
Rich, I can just hear you.
Rick, I'm gonna have to mute you till the dog goes out the room. Sorry, mate. We don't speak K9.
It was before.
He makes a lot more sense. Let's be honest.
No. I think because let me just we're going down the road of who's coming, and there's no guarantees Pep's going anywhere. I might get the question you asked, Ozzy. Is it more so what you're asking is it Pep signing or is it the board signing the players?
Well, we already know that the board have made signings that Pep didn't kind of say that he definitely wanted. I think we can say that Haaland was one of those to begin with. Okay, he loves him now, but I don't think it was Pep's number one choice. The same with Doku. I don't think Doku was Pep's choice. I think it was the clubs. And, well, from what I hear. And I think the other thing what we hear is that, Bruno G is, again, a Pep wants, but actually the board are looking at the guy from at Sevilla. Not Sevilla.
Right, Ozzy, just sorry, one sec. I know LB's got to jump. LB, and cheers, mate.
Nice one, lads.
I'll speak to you tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, no worries. See you in a bit, boys.
Take care, mate.
See ya.
Right, go on, Ozzy. Sorry, mate. I just didn't want LB or anyone to leave. So if anyone does leave, just let us know. And I want to give you all a shout out. I don't just want you to just piss off.
Yeah, so I just think you've got to kind of.
Where's Andy gone now?
He disappears.
What's going on here? This is like nursery. Carry on, I'll say.
I don't know, these two.
It's Richie's dog.
Well, makes more sense. But yeah, so I just think you need to look at, possibly, yes, players coming in, to play a certain style like Pep. But I just think Pep has been able to do things that no other manager has done. I mean, playing four centre-backs, inverting, one of the left backs or right backs into midfield, and, just the things that he's done. Pep is like Ferguson. He's one of those managers that comes in and is a generational talent in himself as a manager. And I will say,
Ozzy, I saw Alan Ball play four centre-backs, and one of them was centre-forward.
Rich,
no, not on purpose, though, Rich. Talk sensible.
You said
you haven't done that a lot tonight.
The thing is, right, exactly what Ozzy said. Pep is generational. I think Rich said it earlier that, Pep managed in the second tier for Barcelona. Listen, not everybody is Pep Guardiola, mate. So whatever, Pep will have a huge say what happens.
Yeah.
But listen, there's no two ways about it. City fans, you're going to have to acclimatise to we're not going to be this successful when Pep goes. They're in meltdown now if we lose a game or draw a game. I tell you what, it's not going to be. Enjoy what we have got now.
This is
Yeah,
why
it's
I'm
living for the moment.
Allegedly told Bruno Guimaraes is a Pep one. The board would rather invest into a 19-year-old João Neves for the same money.
And I kind of agree with the board on this one.
Pep wants Bruno.
I
And it
think
looks
you're
like
better off.
Bruno may win the day out because they think it will give Pep more chance to sign. Now, I know other people have been told other stuff about Pep, which is fine. The thing is, you hear rumour and conjectures all the time of what you hear and everything else. Some are right, some are wrong. But one thing I can guarantee is it does seem like it is João Neves, Kimmich, or Bruno. Because the way I look at the names when you get linked with on a consistent basis for 6 months or more, and João Neves, Bruno, and Kimmich have been the same names for 6 months by all journalists. So there's clearly that is the list that is there for that spot. Same with Paqueta. Now the Paqueta stuff, I'm presuming that's now going to be soon because the Tonali stuff's come out. And Paqueta was charged before frigging Tonali was. So I'm presuming Tonali, because now the Tonali stuff's come out, I'm presuming, hopefully, touch wood, Andy, touch your head, we should get some form of announcement soonish on Lucas Paqueta.
Did you see with
makes the odds anyway?
Did
we
you
can't
see
sign until the window opens anyway.
Yeah, the rumour or the reported thing on Tonali was that you bet on Newcastle to beat City. Like he needs counselling, not blooming punishment.
And the one thing I will say, so before you join, I'm going to shut up. You'll know about Bruno quickly because his release clause is end of May till the end of June. So whoever wants Bruno will have him in 4 weeks.
I don't want him.
That will be done.
I don't want him.
I don't want him.
I know Newcastle made a move for. Oh, by the way, Newcastle made a move for Tosin Bambi on ice. They're very close to getting Tosin Bambi on ice in.
Bruno has more bookings than a travel agent, mate.
It's not just that, but I just think.
Hello, Sailor.
I think for Bruno, he's definitely a kind of a Rodri backup, but is he going to be happy playing that? Because if you're getting Paqueta in as well, then you've got Kovacic, you've got Kevin who wants to play midfield, you've got Foden who definitely should be in midfield. I just think that's going to be so difficult.
Bernardo's going in there.
I know Bernardo is going, but
I think we're starting to see us playing Kovacic and Rodri a bit more together and getting them on. So I think
you're going to need a bigger squad.
Suddenly, you need two players who are world class in that pivot position. If we move that way, and I don't think we can play a season with Rodri and Kovacic both doing that and no one to back them up. So I think Guimaraes comes in and you can play Guimaraes and Kovacic, Guimaraes and Rodri on his own, Guimaraes on his own. It gives you a lot of flexibility, and I don't think Paqueta can play that role on his own.
I think he can, Rich. I think that's where you're wrong. I think
Paqueta could play as a holding midfielder on his own in big games. I've not seen anything that suggests he could run the tempo of the game.
Paqueta?
I personally think because he's playing in this David Moyes team, that has to be a lot more defensive. His defensive numbers are actually quite good, Rich. I just think he's a better passer of the ball. I think he's an all-round better player. So if I had to choose between him and Bruno, I'd pick Paqueta. Because
we're going to the third season on the trot without a Rodri replacement, which is our single biggest risk. Bruno's replacing Calvin Phillips.
No. The separate signings. I was like, it's not one or the other.
No. I'm just saying, if the choice was between the two,
well, you're going to get both. You're going to get one of two. It'll be Paqueta and or Danny Olmo. Danny Olmo is going to be the alternative. Danny Olmo, because they have agreed personal terms with him, but they're doing that on the thing of. Sorry, Andy, you need to jump down, mate, because you got some more cheating bastard mugs to do.
I'm looking
By the way,
forward to
you
mine.
can get 10% off code Manway to get your dirty cheating bastard mugs. And I'll tell you what, for the members this month, for the prize winner this month, whoever wins out of members, you will get a dirty cheating masters mug, coaster, and keyring set. And because it's the end of the season, are you doing t-shirts?
I can do anything you want.
I will pay.
That's
I
not so
will pay
right.
personally for the membership winner.
I'm not even ready, Dom, yet.
I will pay personally for Andy to do you a Dirty Cheating Bastards t-shirt. That will be drawn out on Saturday night. So you'll get a mug, you'll get a keyring and a coaster set. And for the members winners, but you have to be a member, I will pay personally for a Dirty Cheating Bastards t-shirt to be done for you. So there you go. Let us something extra for our amazing community.
I think we should have them as t-shirts to wear on the channel, Martin.
I'd love it if we got a legal letter then.
Also to clear up, anyway, Andy, 9320 Pubcast, get over there, show them a lot of love.
Hey, do you like that one as well?
Alan doesn't. He hates conversation Nunes.
And I've got one for Rich as well.
Chris Wood.
What? It's not legal. It's not legal. Anyway,
it's true. I am Kermit compared to you, Statler and Ward.
Right, we're going to go 5 more, and then we'll wrap up because we've been going nearly 2 hours, and I need to go.
Folks.
Craig, thank you very much. Right, also to clear up, Pep Caldoon has spoken about the extension. However, Pep wants to wait and see who comes in the squad and won't make a decision till November, December time. That is late, Craig. Because that gives us 6 months to find somebody else. Unless, Craig, will we look for a potential replacement in case he says he's leaving? Because what I don't want with that, Craig, is a Jurgen Klopp scenario.
Yeah,
I don't want it to be announced halfway through a season. That would kill him.
And I just think, you're right, Mark. I think that kind of information that Pep goes would have the same impact as a Liverpool.
There is one way to deal with it, though. There's one way. If you bring in the next manager as assistant,
they're not this clever, Rich. I know what you're going to say.
If you bring in the next manager as assistant before the announcement or before they go, you stop, and that's why it worked at Liverpool. You stop all the media attention.
Rich, you're asking someone to leave their job to become a number 2. They're not going to do that.
Not if it's confirmed. Not if you offer someone 5 million, 6, 7 million a year on a 5-year contract or 4-year contract, of which 6 months is going to be effectively handover, and then 3-year manager contract. You know, I'm not saying that Thomas Tuchel would take that, but I reckon even a De Zerbi would take that.
All of them will go plus Phillips. Sorry, no, you've done Phillips. Plus Taylor Howard-Bellis, and plus potentially somebody else. Ortega, we don't know yet. We're still waiting. Pep will teach Paqueta how to play the Rodri way.
Rich, I don't think you could. I don't think it would work because, for one thing, it would immediately kind of raise a red flag saying that Pep's leaving, and I just don't think any manager in the right.
But his contract runs out in June, so what? Even if we say nothing, the media's going to say Pep's going in June until until he signs a new contract. He's going in when the contract runs out. So. That we've got that speculation, and there's nothing we can do to stop that. Pep can confirm it, which means it's definitely going this way. Pep can say nothing, which means speculation. They're the only 2 alternatives. And what I'm saying is, if you had a plan, and Vincent Kompany was your assistant, and they were the plan for the next manager. If they're in place, players can't slack off. They can't argue with the manager. They can't do all that because the consequences are there. And the media can't speculate about who the next manager is going to be because they're there. And that's the only thing City can do to mitigate. Otherwise, we've got speculation until Pep confirms one way or the other.
Well,
And there's nothing they can do about that.
I don't. We're going down the road of Pep's thing. I don't really want to. You're making me cry. Anyway, I missed the Wolves bit completely because obviously I wasn't here. I apologise. Did you give me score predictions? I don't need win-lose. I don't need exact ones. Did you give me score predictions for Saturday?
We haven't even talked about Saturday.
Someone's put in the chat. We talked about it a bit.
Well, we
talked about the rest of the season. We didn't talk about Saturday.
Yeah,
about the weekend's games.
So why are you allowed 2 hours and then not? What the frig? See what happens
Richard's
in charge.
Well, because Richard's had one of his rants, so we've had nothing.
But we've not even done the Wolves bit, right? I'll do a Wolves video tomorrow. Jesus, I'll do a separate.
What happened when you leave us alone, Martin? Rich
I'll do a Wolves video tomorrow.
We just followed. We followed what the people in the chat wanted.
Right, what I'll do is
became democratic.
At 3 p.m. tomorrow live, I'll do a Wolves one. If I have to do it on my own, I do it on my own. You lot, bullshit.
Right.
Leave you.
I'll just go 2-0.
No bollocks to you now. Talk about it tomorrow. Send me it via WhatsApp. You let me down. Pissed on my chips.
3-0.
2-0. Yeah. Foden's back. That's my prediction. He gets both goals.
TV. Sorry. Verts and Echeverri. Verts is not coming in, Joe. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. As much as I wish he would, but no, that's it happening.
Prado's gone 4-0, 3-0, 3-0, 5-1. Richards has been in a sanguine mood. 2-1. 2-1. 2-1.
2-0.
No, DC said 2-1. Another 2. No, it'll be an hour tomorrow. I promise you. 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Haaland's back and in the mood. Plus, actually, that'll be after Pep's presser. Yeah. 3 p.m. tomorrow, I'll be back. I'm on LB's show at 1 p.m. I'm going on the Tone show. That may be a permanent thing now, by the way. I'll let LB explain tomorrow. Looks like I'm going to be on the Tone show permanently moving forward on a Friday over on LB's channel. And then at 3 p.m. tomorrow, because Rich and Ozzy can't organise piss in a brewery.
We can. We're both pissed.
Yeah, seriously. Have you seen my beer fun tonight from Alan?
No. So what we'll do is we'll do that. Yes, Edison may not be out for the season.
I think you'd be looking
before. Edison is made out of steel. I'm going to start calling him Superman. I don't know how
he probably won't get picked this weekend, but he was trying to say he was available this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be straight with you. He's probably going to be back for Fulham.
I wonder if he'll bring him back or whether he'll just stick with.
I got my Wembley tickets today, but it's not me going. My daddy's going. My brother is going. My daddy's going, and my son is going. My brother is taking me dad to make a memory. While I'm in Greece. So this time in 3 weeks, there'll be no show. Well, there will be. What I'm going to do is, at some point, I'm going to set up the show and show these two how to set it all up.
And leave us in charge and cause a muck.
I'm just going to go out and do 2-hour rant shows just randomly.
Is who gay? No, Catherine. Plus, there's nothing wrong with being gay.
And we're all very happy as well.
I'm a very happy person, Catherine. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spanned it 3 times, so Martin, you would need to organise a Mancunian way live in Mary D's. I know you're doing up, but it would be the best.
I think
Hey, I know the owner of Mary D's as well. Don't blow out because I will arrange it. I'm being serious. I know the owner of Mary D's. Well, I don't know.
He doesn't.
I know the son.
Martin,
So,
he's not wanting to meet you at Mary D's. He's wanting to meet you at Marie D's, which is a beautiful little French restaurant in the Northern Quarter.
The son of the owner of Mary D's cuts my hair. Somebody who owns Mary D's owned a nightclub or a bar in Failsworth.
Usually on the bar at Mary D's after about 7 pints.
Anyone who's from Failsworth will know who I mean. They are the owner of Mary D's. So I will speak to them if you want. Martin, I can keep your seat warm. Enjoy your holiday. Hey, listen, everyone can come on. Oh, no, Martin, in 3 hours of Rich FFP and legal issues. Yeah, we're all happy, Catherine. But thank you. That backfired on it, didn't it? Yeah, silly bitch.
No, I think.
Anyway,
we're so fashionable and immaculately groomed that it's an assumption.
We're gay. You're a bitch. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Big thank you to everyone for joining us.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you are. Allegedly, Catherine.
Allegedly, Martin.
Allegedly, Catherine, you are. Rich and Ozzy, thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
Always a pleasure, Martin.
And thank you for stepping in my absence while I looked after my father. He is fine. Again, to Margaret, rest in peace from us all here at the Mancunian Way. We're all a family. Alec Johnson, I hope he's in the chat. I think he is. I hope everything's going well with you as well. We are going to do a Twitter space in 20 minutes. We're going to start it just before midnight. I will do a Twitter space where we'll have a good chat about football if you want for an hour. Thank you to all the super chats and the memberships. That's to Simo Subs, Herbal, Alan for his numerous super chats. Mark Harris, Chroma Bits, Pardo Oaks, David, Matt Fogg, Bite Your Dick Off, Andrew Smith, Rational Cat Fat, LB 1998, L-Tech, and Alan again. You are all legends. Thank you so much. And don't forget, on Saturday night, after the Wolves post-match, we will do our members prize draw where you'll win a Dirty Cheating Bastards Cup, Dirty Cheating Bastard coaster and keyring. And out of my own personal pocket, you will get a Dirty Cheating Bastards t-shirt. So, yeah, if everyone else got them, there you go, back to the cup. Well, if you know Keogh's, you know the owner of Mary D's. Anyway, take care all. Smash them. Big up, by the way, to LB as well and to Andy 9320 Pubcast. Go and give them a lot of love. And everyone else who's down in the description. And we'll see you on the next one. I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock because these two can't do the frigging job. Poor. Bye all.